Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you've been enjoying the story about the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. We're going to do it one more time, and then I have a different story for you about those pigs and that wolf. Are you ready? Let's get started. Once upon a time, there were three little pigs, and these little pigs were all in the same family. And Mama said, "Little pigs, it's time for you to go to your own homes." And they said, "But Mama, we don't want to go." And Mama said, "Too bad, go." And they said, "But Mama, but Mama, but Mama." And Mama said, "I don't want to hear it, go." So they packed up their things and they started. And they were walking down the highway, and this first little pig saw some straw. He was kind of on the lazy side, so he said, "I'm going to get the straw and make my house because I can do it really fast." The other two said, "Go ahead." So he went over here to build his house. And these guys kept walking and talking, and this one said, "Hey, here's some sticks. I'll make me a stick house." This one said, "Are you sure? That's not very strong." He said, "Yeah, I want to get this job done." He was in a hurry too. So he said, "Go ahead." So he built his stick house. This little pig wanted to make sure he had a really good house. He was the oldest one, and being the oldest, they were a little bit wiser. So he kept going, and he found the bricks and went, "This is what I'll use. I'll make this for my house." So the first little pig was through making his straw house, and he was just having fun. And lurking in the woods was a big, fat wolf. Well, now wolves like to eat little pigs. And so he started to walk, and the little pig went, "Woo, there's a wolf. Let me get in my house." He went in, and the wolf came up and knocked on the door. Little pig, let me come in." What do you think that pig said? "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin chin." And that wolf said, "Then I'm going to huff and puff and blow your house down." And the little pig went, "Oh, I hope this house holds." And the wolf huffed and puffed, blew it down, and the little pig ran away. And the wolf went, "Man, no breakfast." So he kept on walking, and he came to another house. He saw those pigs, and he thought, "Great, I can get lunch." The pigs saw him, and they ran inside and going, "Oh." And the wolf came up. Little pig, let me come in." What did they say? "No, no, no, not by the hair of our chinny chin chins." Then that wolf said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." Get your breath. The house fell down, and the little pigs ran away. And the wolf went, "Man, no lunch. I'm hungry." So he kept walking. Went, "Whoa, wait a minute. There's another house. And I see three pigs." And the pigs heard the wolf coming, so they jumped inside their house and they locked those doors up tight. And the wolf said, "I smell supper." So he went and he knocked. Little pigs, let me come in." And what did he say? "No, no, 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 not by the hair of our chinny chin chins." The wolf said, "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." So he got his breath. "Oh, help me." "Hey, that house didn't fall. Let's try that again." So he got another one. "One more for good measure." "Wait a minute, how am I going to get supper? That house didn't fall. Let's try it again." You ready? You got to help him. Take a deep breath. Take another one. Take one more. And the pigs were laughing because they thought it was so funny. Well, the wolf got mad. He was walking around and he was looking like, a chimney. I'm going up there. So he got up there and it was real quiet because he didn't want the pigs to hear him. So he climbed over the chimney. But what he didn't know was those three pigs had a pot of hot water waiting. And the smart one said, "Hey, go open the door. This wolf is going to leave." So he got the door open. He Started to slide faster and faster and faster, and he saw the water went, I can't go back up. He slid down, hit that water, boom, out that pot he went, raced out that door, and went away. And those pigs lived happily ever after and never ever saw that wolf again. Now that story had the pigs as the good guys and the wolf as the bad guy. But the story I want to read to you today is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Do you think it's going to be different? Let's see. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story, because no one has ever heard my side of the story. This is the wolf's side. Ready? See what that wolf is up to. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. Now you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Are you big and bad for eating a cheeseburger? Nah, that just tastes good. But like I was saying, said Mr. Wolf, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Now, boys and girls, I have a cup of sugar here. Do not go get mama sugar. This sugar is just for us to know that this is all the wolf really wanted. He said, this is the real story. Way back once upon a time, I was baking a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. Now, in the old days, you couldn't go to the store and buy sugar. You went to your neighbors and asked for some. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. So this neighbor was a pig, but he wasn't a real bright pig. It means he wasn't real smart. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind would build a house out of straw? Gotta remember, boys and girls, straw is like hay. It's not very strong, like grass. You can blow it easily. So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house. So I called, little pig, are you in? There was no answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. Do you think he was holding that sneeze? And I sneezed a great sneeze. Look at that house. And you know what? That whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time and just didn't answer me. How rude was that? It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there and you're hungry. So you don't want food to go to waste. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not much. He built his house out of sticks. You know those sticks that Mrs. Furrow doesn't let you play with? That's what he used. I rang the bell in the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shedding the hairs on my chinny chin chin. Boys and girls, was that very nice? I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great big sneeze again. And you're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust had cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Telling you the truth, boys and girls. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. The guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have had the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, "Little pig? Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little poker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Was that the thing to do? What do you think, boys and girls? Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me just one little cup for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. And the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Boys and girls, was that a nice thing to say? Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but when someone talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene, but I couldn't help myself. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and I'll blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it, the real story. I was framed. Hey, can you loan me a cup of sugar? So, boys and girls, you've heard this story and you know this story. I want you to pick one of them to tell somebody in your house. Your mommy, your daddy, your grandma, your grandpa, your uncle, your aunt, somebody. Tell them the story of the 3 pigs, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.